Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great
Hello
day?
everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is November 7th, 2025. And this confirms cryptocurrency's alt season. Yes, it confirms the start of Altseason 2025. I'm going to show you what this precisely is. And it's not necessarily the fact that you're seeing some pumps in certain altcoins. Yes, that's part of it. But the confirmation is on another chart. Also, we're going to look at Bitcoin and what Bitcoin's likely doing and what we should expect over the course of this weekend. If that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. All right, let's start out with Bitcoin on on the daily time frame. So, I said in the last episode that I recorded on the public YouTube that this was it. This was more likely than not the last move we should expect to the upside from Bitcoin before a much larger move to the downside. Okay? And that much larger move to the downside is going to shock and surprise many market participants because there's still a large portion of people involved in crypto that don't somehow, some way, see what Bitcoin's been doing for the past year and a half. They don't see the bearishness of it all. Okay? But they'll soon understand that. And what's happening now is exactly what I've been saying is likely to happen. Okay? The charts, the indicators, everything's been screaming this for a long time. Just because it didn't happen or it took a while to happen doesn't mean that that wasn't what was likely to happen. People lose that important point. Just because it took a while doesn't necessarily mean that it wasn't going to happen. It always has been the more likely scenario from the analysis, however you wanted to look at it, whether on chain, off chain, whether in the Bitcoin chart by itself or other indicators. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about this last move up, which is likely to hit 116K, this level of resistance right here. And after that, I'm saying it's the last move because technically you've satisfied every requirement of this corrective pattern, okay? And I said in the last video, this is the pros read. Most amateurs or sort of intermediate chart analysts can't read that, okay? It just looks like a bunch of stuff. But if you're able to suss out the flat correction here, it's clear, okay? You had the move on the 10th, the move down, the adjoining or the adjoining move, right? Because you don't have moves in a vacuum. Especially when you're talking about corrective price action, it's always a flavor of three. This is one. All this is two. So I'm talking about the purple one. So let's actually do this. Let me do this. Let me simplify things. We can remove this yellow one because it's finished. There's no need to show it. And we can make this a little lighter. Okay? And what I'm trying to say is this. This right here, this ABC flat correction, marks the end of the B wave. This is the A wave. This is the B wave. Then you get the C wave. The C wave goes in the same direction as the A wave, the initial break. So it's down. But the C wave is even more down. Okay, that's just common. Whether you're looking at a flat correction or a zigzag, the C wave is going to be like the A wave, but worse. Whatever you thought the 10th was, you're going to get worse. Now, when I say that, I don't necessarily mean the whole market's going to dump. It will, but not in the same way. What happened on the 10th was Bitcoin came down to this level, and a lot of other assets went close to zero. Okay? And they broke structure, all that kind of stuff. What you're going to see from 116 all the way down to around 90K is going to be different, completely different, because the market environment is going to be different. It's going to be a market where a lot of these altcoins have already made higher highs. And so when they dump, they're going to dump very naturally to retest previous levels of resistance that they had broken on this run up as support. They're going to dump in a nice, reliable, what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to dump in an expected way, because they're just going to make a correction, because nothing goes up in a straight line. They're going to go up a bunch and then come down a bit. Okay, again, not for every altcoin. I'm saying altcoins generally, right? Altcoins generally are, right now, the move that you're seeing is going to continue. It's likely going to continue over the weekend. It's going to produce, strong double, triple digit gains. After that, Bitcoin hits its final resistance. It moves down to its next target around 90K. Then everything dumps, but things aren't retracing, making lower lows. Most of altcoins are making higher lows. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so this is it right here. This is the move. Okay, that's the first part of it. Second part of this analysis that is actually even more important is not just the fact that Bitcoin's likely targeting 116K, and it's likely the last chance, the very last chance. I mean, we've been saying this for quite some time. Bitcoin's been bearish for a fucking long time. And if you still have yet to take profit on Bitcoin, what are you waiting for? Seriously, what are you waiting for? That's your last chance. That is your last fucking chance, because after 116, you're going to dump, and you're going to be caught in the throes, you're going to be caught in the gravity of the black hole that is this impulse to the downside, and that doesn't stop. Remember, impulses are scary. That was an impulse. That was a mini impulse, the 10th. This is a much larger impulse with a target way down, much lower than most people expect. Most people can't handle that move. People thought they couldn't handle this move. Most people won't be able to handle that move. There are stops, liquidation points, even if they're not on any kind of leverage. They just won't emotionally be able to handle giving up so many gains, because we're going to, go down way lower than most people see, because most people are stuck on a 5-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame, hourly time frame at most. They don't do weekly time frame analysis. They don't look at price action years back. And so 50 to 55K is something that probably will never ever be hit for them ever again, and Bitcoin's probably never even going to sniff those levels, right? They're not thinking in those kinds of ways. So believe you me, this move in Bitcoin, and we've been talking about this on this channel for years at this point, that move is going to be the final move of Bitcoin's bear market, because Bitcoin's currently in a bear market. But a lot of people won't be able to stomach it. And it's going to be very similar to what you saw in altcoins. Remember how altcoins pretty much went to zero and everybody thought it was over, and it was, oh my God, I knew it. These worthless assets, they don't do anything but dump. They went to zero. You got to be careful. I knew it. You got to be careful. The only thing that's safe is Bitcoin. Crypto's dead, but at least Bitcoin, it stood. It stood strong. It dumped a bit, but there's still hope. At least that's not worthless, because people ascribe value to price. I talked about this in a few episodes ago. People are very simplistic, and so when they see the price go down, they think, oh, it's worthless. And they see the price go up, they think, oh, it's valuable. These are normal and natural cycles that every market eventually go through. It has nothing to do with their inherent value. So when Bitcoin does its move down to between 50 and 60K, 50, 55, 60, whatever, 50 and 60K, let's keep it at that, 50 and 60K. A lot of people are going to think really it's the end for crypto. But people are going to start to think a little differently about that given what happens before that eventually happens. Oh, sorry, I didn't finish my thought. So the idea of what you saw, what altcoins did at this point, right, go close to zero, Bitcoin's going to do that too. That's not a bad thing. In technical analysis, when you look at these kinds of moves, in these kinds of contexts, at the end of a bear market, this is what signifies the end of a bear market. Just like you see most altcoins are running, and just like we were talking about, the analysis has been telling us that we're going to get this move where Bitcoin wasn't going to do much, but altcoins were going to become dominant, and you're going to see altcoins up, 100%. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's up 2%. People are like, that doesn't even make any sense. And this is exactly what you see in Altseason. This is what you see, the dominant shifting. There's nothing to do with Bitcoin perpetually leads the market. No. Again, you're stuck in time, in a short window of time, because you've observed something maybe for a few months, a few years, and you think that's always going to happen. That's not true. That's why I'm always saying, take a step back and look at the cycles, as many cycles as you can perceive, and understand that it's a shift. It's not one thing always happens, but things shift. So just like it was Bitcoin season for the past 3-4 years, it's going to be altcoin season for the next 3-4 years or something like that. Okay? Change your mindset. Bitcoin now trends to the upside, or Bitcoin makes an intention to go up. That means altcoins can fly, and this is exactly what you're seeing. So just like just like altcoins capitulated and did their final move, because the final move of any corrective pattern is always impulsive, and it's always strong, and it's always order book clearing. You can't have a final without a bang. Think about that. Like, think of a Broadway show, think of any show, think of any fireworks show, anything, any performance. The end, you always end in a bang. When Bitcoin did this, altcoins ended in a bang. Not all altcoins, but most altcoins. They went damn near to zero. And from that, you see a recovery, and that's what we call the beginning or the start of their bull market, right? What you saw on the 10th was the capitulative liquidation, the capitulative ending of many bear markets in the altcoin space. And what you're seeing now is just a continuation of what you saw, the uptrend that resulted from that capitulative final move down in altcoins. So expect the same in Bitcoin, and a lot of people aren't ready for that, right? It's harder to read in a lot of altcoins, but in Bitcoin, it's been staring at you in the face, and it's been yelling at you like, hey, I still have to do this, I still have to do this, I still have to do this. So word to the wise, I spent a little more time than I expected on this, but let it be a warning if you're still in Bitcoin, if you're still exposed to Bitcoin. take profit. Not financial advice, but I mean, this is what the charts are telling you to do. Take profit, because right as we go to 116, shortly thereafter, you can expect an impulsive move all the way back down to our target between 50 and 60K, after which you should expect a massive bounce and the start of Bitcoin's bull market. Okay. But again, been literally talking about this for years. And it's been on the charts for years. It's taken a while, but it's been really clear. Extremely, exceedingly clear on the charts, on every indicator. You can talk to Willy Woo. All the on-chart guys are seeing the same things. It's not that mysterious. It's just a question of the hardest thing about this, and the most mysterious thing about this, is the time. When are you going to get that? That's what most people don't know. A lot of people who can do technical analysis, either by way of on-chain or chart analysis, could tell you this is coming, and could tell you that what you're seeing in altcoins right now was also coming. All right, so this right here, this chart, I'm going to go on the daily time frame, is the chart that confirms Altseason 2025. This confirms the start of cryptocurrency markets bull run of 2025 that's likely to last years after. That's likely to last for a couple or a few years. Okay, this is a serious thing. It's not some little, it's just a blow off top. Like, people just say stuff. Look at this chart again. I'm not saying this and that or that and this, and there's all these. Yes, there are a lot of different indications, hints. There's a lot of different things you can look at to come to this conclusion, and I have done that on this channel. I've presented a variety of data to support this thesis, but this is the most definitive and rigorous piece of data for the beginning of Altseason. And it's quite simply, it's so direct. It's the Bitcoin dominance chart. Is Bitcoin dominant? Yes or no? That's all this answers. And remember what that means. Bitcoin dominance means what? Bitcoin dominance means Bitcoin goes up, altcoins don't really do much, or they stay put. Bitcoin goes down, altcoins die. That's Bitcoin season. That's Bitcoin dominance going up, trending up. Bitcoin is dominant in that cryptocurrency market. That is a cycle. That is a season. And people, again, most market participants, their time frame, their analytical time frame is very short. Okay? Just because, for as far as they can remember, it's been Bitcoin season. And you could say it's been Bitcoin season since April of 21. Okay, in some way, shape, or form. And more definitively since November of 22. So about 3 years. For 3 years solid, you've been in Bitcoin season. Up and to the right, Bitcoin's been dominant. It's not even a question. It only started to shift here in June of this year. Okay? It just started to shift in June of this year. But now you're going to get the definitive change. Just like it's not always hot outside. Sometimes you got to put on a goose down because the season shifted. Right? For somebody who's only lived a few months, they're like, wait, it's always hot. What's going on? I don't need that. It's always hot outside. You say, no, baby. There's something called seasons. Yes, it's hot right now. It's so hot. You want to take a ice bath and you're turning on fans and the AC, but there's going to be a point in time where you're gonna want to turn on the heat. The baby says, "Nah, get out of here. I don't believe you. That's crazy." You're gonna say, "Yeah, baby, there's gonna be a point in time. You can go outside and it's literally raining ice." The baby says, "You're lying." And you're gonna say, "Baby, let me tell you something. It's called a season. Things change. It's not always hot outside. Sometimes it's cold AF. And there's something called winter. And it's coming. It always comes. Sometimes it comes early. Sometimes it comes late. But you know what, baby? It always comes." The baby, their mind is blown. Their world shifts. And they start seeing things with a greater perspective on a greater time frame. Literally, most market participants are babies because they only see the past few years, the past 3 years, right? Let's say the baby only lived in a tropical climate, and then past 3 months they just moved to a temperate climate, so they never seen winter. Most people are babies in this space. They don't know that, yes, for the past 3 years it's been Bitcoin season, but this is going to shift to altcoin season and then back to Bitcoin season. To them, it's inconceivable. It's always Bitcoin season. Bitcoin is the best and altcoins are worthless. Only invest in the best. What are you wasting your time and money on? Like, that is how people lose because they have no perspective. So my greatest piece of advice: zoom out, gain perspective, understand their cycles, seasons in this technical analysis stuff, and try and spot them. The high time frame shifts in trends. That's it. So now this is the confirmation of altcoin season, because right here you saw the initial break. Again, we're going to use the whole idea of corrective patterns always being in flavors of three. It doesn't matter if it's a triangle, it doesn't matter if it's a flat correction, it doesn't matter if it's a zigzag. I just quoted every type of correction that can exist in technical analysis. You can have a million different permutations and combinations, but at the end of the day, it's either a flat correction, a zigzag, or a triangle. This right here is a zigzag, and each and every one of those, they express in a flavor of three. This is your initial break. You can call it A. This is your counter. It's counter to the initial break. The initial break sets the trend that the market wants to go in. The counter obviously goes in the opposite direction. Right here, what you saw here is the confirmation of this C wave. You're going to get A, B, C. Right here, and we're going to zoom in for a second. You're going to see why it's confirmation on the smaller time frame, but this is an A, B, C zigzag, and that is the beginning of the impulsive part of alt season. I've said it on this channel so many times, and people say you're a liar and I don't see it, and I get it why you may not be able to see it, but alt season technically started in June. This is the first big move because this is the initial break. It's corrective. The counter is by definition a B wave. It's corrective. This right here that you're seeing is going to be the first pure impulsive move of alt season, and that is your cue. So when I say alt season's confirmed, it's not necessarily because I look at my watch list and I see a little bit of green, double digit gainers. Fine, that's great. We've seen that, in certain assets at certain points in time since June. We've seen it. We may have even seen a little bit of it here, but this, I say with a lot of conviction, is the definitive start of the big moves in alt season and the continuation of a trend that's likely to last for years to come, right? Think about last time we did this and think about what it took. Last time we did this, right? In 2020, a few altcoins participated. So this is the trend, right? Look at what it took to reverse that trend. Just like any trend in technical analysis needs to be reversed with an accumulation or a distribution, right? Here you have an accumulation, Wyckoff accumulation, or a consolidation range, right? It doesn't matter how you look at it, but you don't just boom, boom, change trends. You literally, and this was a mini alt season, 130 days. That's a mini alt season. Very few assets participated in it. Still, it took you almost 560 days to reverse that trend from down to up. Okay? So when I say we're trending, consider now the market, the crypto market, being an altcoin market. What you're going to see for the next few hundred days, and I can't tell you how long. Again, time is the unknown variable in many respects. In most aspects, in most trade theses, time is the X, the unknown variable. Price, you can usually figure it out. Price can be figured out with a decent level of accuracy. Time, not so. Okay? And a lot of people get lost in time. Trade theses go to die in time because it doesn't play out in some premeditated time frame. They render that trade thesis invalid. This is why when people comment, "Oh, it's not looking so good for you, Dean. I don't know about that. Oh, last I checked, your analysis sucks, buddy." This is what most people misunderstand. You can't judge analysis based off of time. I know that sounds counterintuitive. Like, if you can't judge it on time, anybody can say anything and it'll never happen. You just say, "Oh, the time hasn't come yet." It's tricky. It's even hard. You have to know some technical analysis. You have to have some skill to even be able to say, "Hey, that guy's good. That guy sucks." I'm digressing, but all I'm trying to say is time's the unknown variable. What you see when it comes, and it's proven in price. When it's proven in price action, then you can say, yes, this is here. And you're likely to get a massive trend continuation, right? That's going to continue for some time, until which point it also has to change. I think this is going to be a redistribution, to be honest, but you're probably going to get a bounce of some sort here, a distribution of some, distribution, or some sort of, you're going to get some sort of consolidation at this point, in my estimation. But it's going to be a massive trend. So for people looking at the cryptocurrency market, now it's altcoin season, and it's full-blown altcoin season. This is what I call full-blown altcoin season. This is the time where you pick any random bullshit asset, and it might give you gains. Probabilistically, you're likely to hit. And you might get a big move. You might get a few 100% on it, right? It might completely retrace if you're in the wrong asset, but you might be in the right one, right? That's alt season. Alt season is Bitcoin's doing whatever, but as long as it looks up, altcoins are running. Altcoins are playing, right? It's an altcoin market right now. Hasn't been true in 3 years, okay? That ran a little longer than I expected, but I hope that was helpful. Last but not least, look at this. This is our others chart, and it's breaking out, right? This was the capitulative retest, the final aspect of the correction pattern that we've been in for years, okay? And that correction pattern, again, is a flavor of 3 correction. Here you see A, B, C, okay? And that C wave itself is a zigzag. See, A, B, C. I think that's how you read it. You would probably read it a WXY. You would call it a complex, since you have a zigzag in the capitulative wave, which is kind of odd, but you've seen it before. I've seen it before. Okay? Now, that was finished on the 10th. You come up, you play at the midline, which is resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it, and now you move. That's alt season, because altcoins are running and they have to run. And in this small time frame analysis, they're going to run and hit next logical resistances, while Bitcoin does a modest move up to its next logical resistance of 116, after which, these altcoins that you see going up, let's see what the average is here on the others chart. See these altcoins that you have going up. I feel like, to be honest, let me see. Let's see. If altcoins give you on average about 50%, I'd say on average, a lot of altcoins give you 50%, meaning some are going to give you 200%, others are going to give you 40%, something like that. After that, you're going to see a retracement, and that retracement is again going to take Bitcoin from 116k down to 90k, and it's going to do something like this in altcoins. It's not going to do something like this. Everybody who's telling you it's Bitcoin season forever, all those analysts for years who have gotten away with sloppy analysis telling you that Bitcoin season lasts forever, are going to be exposed, because, again, it's like if somebody said, I know everything there is to know about weather. By the way, buy a lot of jackets, mittens, and hats, because it's always cold. And anybody who tells you it's gonna get warm is a fraud. Those, I don't know what you would call it. Those warmers, those people who are, yeah, it's gonna be warm, it's gonna be warm, it's gonna be warm. Yeah, they're investing in swimsuits and sunblock. Waste of time, waste of energy. It's always cold all the time, every single time. That's literally what it sounds like when people tell you it's going to be Bitcoin season forever and you're never going to have an alt season. That's how ridiculous it sounds, okay? Those analysts get exposed here, because right now what you're going to see is altcoins going up to some point and coming down. As Bitcoin makes lower lows, they make higher lows. Again, when I say altcoins, I mean most altcoins. And a lot of altcoins people think are included in the bullish altcoins probably aren't, okay? And you can know them by their price action this weekend. You can already see, if you have a keen eye, you'll see the non-bullish altcoins, they're moving like 1-2%. Meanwhile, other altcoins are, up double digits easy. The non-bullish altcoins are moving like Bitcoin, and they're going to retrace like Bitcoin and make lower lows. Okay, so guys, that's the analysis. Hope this was helpful, useful. Like, share, and subscribe if you got value. Consider joining my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, where we identify those bullish altcoins, right? And we help you trade them during the course of the bull run to snowball your portfolio, snowball your profits, sell high probability resistances, buy back high probability support, rinse and repeat until you can't, right? Until you get into price discovery, right? Until it's hard to determine high probability resistance and support levels. That's crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service. The sign up is in the pinned comment below. That's the buy me a coffee link. And last but not least, there's also a single asset analysis service, where if you're just interested on my take on any particular asset, commodity, crypto, stock, real estate indicator, as long as there's a chart, I can analyze it, I can give my analysis on it. So that is the single asset analysis service. Just order, pay the payment, email me, and then within 24 hours, you'll have the pre-recorded analysis in your inbox. That's single asset analysis. Guys, take care, enjoy the pump, have a great weekend, and figure out where to take profit, because we're going to get some pullbacks, and those pullbacks are going to be big. The first pullback is always the biggest. So just think about that. And then other altcoins that are not necessarily bullish are going to make lower lows. So really think hard about where you're taking profit, if you're taking profit, how you're taking profit. It's very important. All right, take care. Bye.
I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest magnanimous. We body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I grin what's happening? Gone like the wind.